Uncharted 4: A Thief's End has some elements in it that are quite subtle actually. The main core themes and emotional elements in the game can actually go right over the head of a lot of players. Someone who did a quick review of this game would actually, I feel like, miss out on a lot of the depth that the story offers. There's a lot more variety, and emotional depth going on is a bigger adventure than all of them. So obviously, this year I'd have to give Uncharted 4 the Game of the Year for 2016. Here's some of the other awards I'd give it, because it was very surprising. There was a lot more to this than I expected. And there was a lot more surprises in this game than I had probably than any other games that came out this year. There were some really good games this year, and I'll go over those in my other top 10 video that I'll be doing. But let's just give some awards to Uncharted, because first off, the voice acting to this game. This was the best voice acting in any game I've played this year.
Yeah, your little TV game thing. I bet I can beat your high score.
You think that you can beat my high score on my TV game thing?
Yeah, I think you're scared now.
You don't even know what it's
This was the funniest game that I played this year. There was actually humor in this game. A lot of games don't even attempt to do humor. It's just one tonal note of action. The graphics were the best this year. It was the prettiest game when you just stand still and look at some of the scenes. It's as almost like an art piece. You can take a picture of it, and that picture actually looks good. So that brings me to the next thing, was the art design. The different places you go and the way they show you is actually the best art design I saw this year. It was the best narrative, because the narrative, like I said, takes you so far. It's a really epic journey, an adventure to go through, and the narrative was done so well between the characters. And if you really pay attention to the subtle emotional cues and the things that are going on, including the Avery and the pirates, I'd have to say it's probably the best pirate, one of the best pirate stories ever told. But the thing that's interesting is that you're being told that story from an archaeological perspective. So you actually act as an archaeologist in this game. You discover a story, and ultimately that's one of the themes, is how it's about archaeology and history, and how we can discover the stories of the past. It was one of the most emotional games of the year. The scenes that were done were so well acted, and the emotional tonality to it were so well realized, and the things that happen that go down in that game actually make you feel something about those characters. I didn't have that kind of experience with any other game. There's other games that had some emotional depth to them, but the depth of this story and the depth of the way that Naughty Dog did this was so much more. It had some of the best and most intense gameplay I've ever played, and if you haven't played on crushing difficulty, then you won't experience that. You really have to play on crushing difficulty. The intensity levels go sky high, and the intricate way that the levels are designed with the layout of the encounters is actually one of the best I've ever seen in any game, because you have to play everything very carefully. It gets actually very intense. It can actually be a little bit frustrating here and there because it's so difficult, but I felt like Uncharted actually brought that difficulty, and it felt more punishing and just absolutely rewarding when you get through it. This might be the best third-person game ever, cover-based shooter that is, ever. I don't see any other game out there that's doing what this game did. The variety of encounters is actually pretty significant. You can, on easy, you can blow through an encounter pretty quickly, and it doesn't really mean that much. But when you play it on the higher difficulties, especially crushing, you suddenly realize that the encounter, there's a lot more going on. The level design, the way the enemies are placed, and how you have to use every ability that Nathan has to survive, and you have to do it very optimally and perfectly, actually creates a very cool gameplay moments that are actually, as I said before, really intense, but also very rewarding. Just so those are some of the awards I gave it this year. All those things, it's the best of in a lot of different categories. And you know, the multiplayer is also pretty good. One of the best multiplayers that came out this year. It's actually pretty fun and rewarding, and there's actually a lot of fun to it. There's humor in that as well. So those are some of the awards I gave Uncharted this year. Now here's some of the epic adventure scenes that it has, just because I want to explain how much of an epic adventure it is. Okay, you get a sneak out scene along the lines of the Goonies. You get a prison break scene. Also, there's an emotional character death right there. There's a diving adventure scene where you get to play out a diving experience. You actually get to just do a normal day in the life of Nathan Drake scene where you're in his house. You get the Jeep adventure through Africa where there's this huge Jeep safari kind of adventure. There's an island treasure hunt adventure. There's a pirate graveyard and a ship graveyard. There's kind of like a Pirates of the Caribbean theme park-y kind of town adventure that you get to explore. There's definitely climbing, action scenes, shooting, all those kind of adventure scenes as well. And you get a pirate treasure adventure to go along with. You also have the winter kind of harkening back to Uncharted 2 adventure scenes in Scotland. So you have the heist adventure scene as well, with Sully and the stealing, the sneaking around, the break-in scene. So you have so many different varieties of adventures going on. And you also have an amazing museum set piece with a break-in where you break into a house and then you're escaping from the cops. Of course, there's also huge epic set pieces such as the bell tower. That was pretty fun to watch. Some other of the scenes, such as, of course, the Jeep chase scene. Of course, the amazing chase scene that's about 20 minutes long, of one of the most epic chase scenes ever made in any video game. But also, if you compare that to any movie, you can put that right up there. This is one of the most epic chase scenes ever put to any kind of media. So overall, the way that Uncharted acknowledges archaeology, history, adventure films, and all of the motifs it plays on, as well as all the emotional depth and the core themes of the game that play out through this whole big, long, epic adventure that's along lines of an Indiana Jones on the scale of like the Lord of the Rings. Uncharted 4 definitely earns the Game of the Year for 2016, and actually it's my #1 media release for 2016. I feel like this beats out any of the movies I saw this year, any of the other media experiences I've had this year. So Uncharted 4 was an absolute amazing ride, and I kind of don't understand or see some of the other reviewers touching on some of the things that Uncharted 4 brought to the table, which makes me wonder and think if they even got or saw what this game really has to offer, or maybe as reviewers, if they just played through a quick playthrough and kind of set it aside, because I feel like when you go in depth on this game, you get so much more. It's a very rewarding experience in that way, and definitely when you play on the higher difficulties. The first playthrough I played was on crushing difficulty, which was pretty hard, so it gave you a lot of reward for playing through it. Then I actually played it for my friend to show him. Then I played a speed run through the game. Doing the speed run, you get to see how the rock climbing and the rope really play into the rhythm of the game. And when you do a speed run, you can see just a lot of that, the level design, how well it was crafted, and how everything mixes up really nicely. And then I played again to collect all the treasures, and then now I'm playing again to do a full analysis for my channel, Ninja Land Games here. So anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed Uncharted 4 as well. But I actually have a huge in-depth analysis of this game. It's going to go into a lot of the core themes and messaging behind this game, and we're going to go really deep into it. I'm going to go as deep as I can, and so I hope you basically subscribe to the channel so that you can get that video as it comes out. I'm actually working on it right now, but I decided to put this up for the Game of the Year. Also have my top 10 awards to give out as well. So anyways, thank you for watching Ninja Land Games. I hope you enjoy these videos, and have a great day.